evening, Rude Galaxy. Good to see you. Welcome to our channel tonight. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. And I hope you, if you haven't subscribed, I hope that you will subscribe and not only just subscribe. Leave some comments. Say hello, tell us how we're doing. Leave us some information about how we're doing. Just let us know what's going on. And if there are any creative abilities and creative powers you want us to take a closer look at, or you have a question about, or you want to dust off and polish up and learn how to use more effectively so that you can be that master manifester that we know that we all should be and can be. Just give me just leave us a comment. Leave us a comment. Like us, subscribe to us, and please share the links with your network, with your community, your internet, and your YouTube and your Instagram, all of those channels. I mean, all of those venues. Just share our brand new YouTube channel with them. We're looking and hoping to grow. But anyway, so welcome tonight, and we are talking about our again. We're talking about our creativity, and tonight we're going to be talking about curiosity. Our curiosity. We're going to kind of talk a little bit more about it. Last week I kind of introduced you to the fact, I brought it to your awareness that you do indeed have curiosity. You have it. You had it at birth. The world tried to take it away from you, and they probably juggled it around and did some things to it to make it not so noticeable, not so recognizable. But you know what? Stick around with us for the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk a little bit more about your creativity, and hopefully your curiosity, and hopefully you'll be a little bit more aware of it. It's not just a children thing. Our kids have it. If you are a parent, you probably have observed the curiosity in your children. And if you're a parent, I am going to encourage you. I'm going to beg you and plead with you to cultivate that curiosity. Teach them how to ask questions and not be afraid to ask. And don't try not to use this phrase too often, because I told you so. Sometimes doesn't catch me on, but you know what? Try to give them an answer, or lead them to a space and a place where they can find the answers that they need. Sometimes I know that my grandmother would say, she would never tell us, that you asked. No, sometimes she would. You asked too many questions. But one of the things that I learned from her, and I tried to pass it on to my girls, is, even though you may not know the answers, and believe me, we don't know more than we know, and we'll always be that way, because the more we know, the more we realize there is to know. But don't be afraid or ashamed, or pulled off your high horses or off your throne to say that, what, baby, I don't know the answer. I don't have the answer. But you know what? I remember a book in the library, or I know a teacher at your school, or I know this person, or you can go on the internet and you can give them encourage them to ask questions and be inquisitive, because that is a gift that we received, that we brought with us. We brought with us when we came to this third dimension, this heavy duty, dense third dimension. And trust me, they will be so much better off realizing, being aware of it, and using their curiosity. But tonight is grown folk night. It's evening, and I'm hoping that us parents and you grown-ups, uh, I just want you to be aware that you have a curiosity, and that it's still available to you. It's still, if it's in the back part of the tool shed or the bottom of the toolbox, I want you to get it out, because you got it. You have it. And trust me, if your kids are using theirs, they don't need yours. Okay. So you need to probably get it out, dust it off. We're going to talk about it for the next couple of sessions. But tonight, before I even get started, I always like to take the opportunity to remind you who you are. And that's one of my missions. I feel I take it on as a mission in life, is to remind, whenever I possibly can, and encourage people, uh, and persons, to recognize who they are, what they are, and whose they are. And of course, tonight's not going to be any different, because I'm going to let you know, before I start the session, that you are indeed an unlimited, unrestricted, created being, created in the image of your maker, out of the same stuff that your maker, your creator, your source, your God, your father, your divine universe, whatever and whomever you believe to be or know to be your source, your creator, you're made out of the same stuff that your creator and your source is made from. And you can do and you can have and you can be exactly what your source, your creator, your father, your maker, your God can do and be and have. Your creator, your God, your father, your source, universe, father, divine, withholds absolutely nothing from you. Absolutely everything that is God's, is Father's, is universe, is divine's, is your source, is your creator, is all always and forever available and accessible to you. And my thing, and I say this: we're only restricted and we're only limited by what and who we believe our source to be. Whatever I believe that my source can do, so can I. And me personally, I know without a doubt, it's not something I believe. I know this for sure that my source, my God, my Father, my Creator can do all things. There is absolutely nothing that my source, my Father, my divine, my Creator cannot do. All things, even the impossible things, even the things that we deemed impossible or silly or whatever, my source, my father, my God can do. And so can I. And so can you, because we're all chips off the block, of the block or the old block, the Father, the divine. So we are our Father's children. We are our Father's created ones. We are our Father's conscious ones. And I just want you to act and be and behave yourself. All right. So you are like your daddy. Okay. You are like your daddy. Some people, sometimes you may say, you're just like your daddy. Well, you know what? You're just like your daddy. So anyway, so welcome tonight. And like I said, tonight we're going to continue talking about a creative power. It's an opportunity, like I said, to look at our creative powers and our creative abilities. And we're going to look at curiosity. And curiosity, they say curiosity killed the cat. But I'm telling you today that curiosity may have killed the cat, but satisfaction of that curiosity brought the cat back. Okay. Now, we know that one of the things that we talked about last week, we kind of introduced you to curiosity as a superpower. And it is one of our superpowers. It is indeed a superpower. It's been kind of conditioned and distorted a little bit, since our birth, since we first got here. We talk a little bit about that tonight, but we indeed have one. And just like any of our other powers and our other abilities, like our thoughts and our behaviors and our beliefs and our those we have to adjust and tweak them every now and again, because the world that we live in, and in order to um, assimilate this and be mobile in this society, in this world that we live in, we have to succumb to the powers to be and act and be and say and do and do the things that the world wants us to do and be. So we kind of get off track and we forget who's what and whose we are when somebody's telling us that you can't do this or you don't have that or that's not available to you. Sometimes, we hear it so often that we begin to believe it. But you know what? My job, my mission is to remind you what you knew or what you had when you first got here. And don't let the world and space and time and that illusion of space and time and separation that tends to get us kind of confused or reconditioned. Don't let it throw you off track, because you are who you are. You were, you will, you are, and you always will be who you came here as. Okay. So we're just gonna wake you up a little bit, to prog you. So tonight, what we're gonna talk about that superpower, curiosity. And I want to remind you that it was Einstein, the brainiac, the one that broke the code on that relativity equation deal, that the brainiac, Einstein, right? Well, anyway, he is probably one of the most, I don't know, intelligent, smartest, brightest. He's just off the chain with intelligence and know-hows and knowledge and whatever. It, Einstein, Einstein, him. Well, he said of himself, this is what he said of himself. He said that, I don't have, I'm not, overly talented, or I don't have anything that's so outstanding about me other than I am passionately curious. Now, he also went on to say that curiosity has its place, it has its purpose, it has its reason for being. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to argue with the brainiac. I'm going to agree with him. I'm going to agree with him. I don't understand everything he talks about, but I do understand that what we came here with, we have an opportunity to become reacquainted with it if we have forgotten it, and we can reacquaint ourselves, readjust ourselves, readjust that knowledge, that know-how, that skill, that ability, that power. We can readjust it to the way it was when we first got here, before the world got hold of it and got hold of us and start telling us stuff that we start believing and kind of buying into. But I'm here to tell you, all right, you are a curious being, and that curiosity is a part of your superpower. In fact, like Eisenhower, Einstein says, and Eisenhower is probably another guy that probably feels the same way that Einstein does. But Einstein has convinced me. I'm not one to argue with the brainiac. I totally, totally, totally agree that to be passionately creative or curious, it just opens the door wider for my power and my ability to create and manifest what I want, what I desire, what I dream about, what I desire. So listen to the man and pay attention. I'm going to share a little bit about his perspective on that tonight. So before uh, I, I guess I just want to make sure that you remember that and understand that it was Eisenhower, the smart one, that said in the first place, curiosity has its purpose and its reason for being here. And never ever, he implored us, he pleaded with us to never ever stop asking questions. So that's one way to express your curiosity is by asking questions. Asking questions. And like I said, as parents, as your parents, never ever tell your kids they ask too many questions, because they do not. They may ask so many questions that you are too busy to answer, but you can always divert their attention to another source of answers, all right? Because we don't know everything. As parents, we don't know everything anyway. Although my daughter thought I knew everything. She told the teacher I did. So I had to convince. I had to convince for some reason mom knows everything. But the teacher, it was funny that her teacher says, your daughter she just thinks that you just know everything. You have got her convinced. I said, I never convinced her of that. She just trusts me. I don't know if she trusts me. But she knows that. She knows today that it's important for children to ask questions. And she knows that it's important for parents to respect those questions and support them and not turn them away. She better not. They've got those four boys and one on the way. So anyway, curiosity as we know it today, um, it's maybe a little bit distorted, but the definition of it, one of the I guess I should probably let you know that one of the reasons that I really kind of found myself in this rabbit hole, it's not really a rabbit hole, but in this exploration of curiosity, was because a person um, said to me some time ago that, Jane, you worry too much. And I said, I don't worry. I said, I'm not worried. I'm just curious. And I took offense at being, that he told me that I was worried. But what happened was, it kind of sparked my thought about it. I said, well, what does what does curiosity look like, and what does worry look like? Maybe they look pretty much similar. And I discovered that they are very, very closely related in how they're expressed and how we go about demonstrating our curiosity. We could appear to be worried when uh, we take the passion a little bit further than passion, and then we get obsessive about it. And sometimes I can get a little bit obsessive about finding out information or getting the answers that I want. Sometimes I get frantic, and I just absorb myself in, or immerse myself in the search and in the journey, that sometimes I forget. And we don't want to be so obsessive or passionate, that passion turns into obsession. And I discovered that about myself. So, I have to applaud him and give him thanks for reminding me, or saying, or letting me know that your curiosity is beginning to look like an obsession or anxiety or anxiousness. So I kind of backed off, and it started that research. Hello, Virginia. Good to see you. So I backed off a little bit on being taking offense, and I decided that instead of being on the defensive and just aggravated about it, I was going to look into my understanding and my expression and my perception of curiosity. And some of the things that I've learned, I'm going to share tonight, and one of those things is basically to just say, just right off, that curiosity, I guess the definition of curiosity is just kind of an intense wanting, to desire to know, a desire to understand, desire for information about some part of our lives, or some part of our world, or something in this world. And usually curiosity is sparked by, I don't know, a question that we might encounter, and for me, curiosity looks like it feels like a light bulb goes off in my head, or in my third eye, or somewhere in my face, and I get this 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 urgency, or this passion, to really get that answer, to find out whatever it is that have sparked that curiosity in me, that brought that curiosity alive and before me. I have to satisfy it. I mean, I have to. I'm off to the races and trying to find the answers. And sometimes, because I get passionate about it, overly passionate sometimes, and to the point of worry, I guess, I find myself venturing, kind of being distracted off into other areas. And I and then I realize, that's not really what I was looking for. And, I've got sidetracked or distracted or whatever. So you have to kind of understand that there is a similarity between being anxious and passionate, because they have the same kind of feeling, and they stir up the similar emotions in you. So, uh, curiosity itself it's basically, for me, if I was to say, encourage you to be curious, I would say, and curiosity does not mean that you're judgmental. Curiosity means that you're open. Curiosity does not mean that you go in with a preconceived idea of whatever it is that you have a curiosity about. Curiosity means that you have this blank slate, this blank picture. You know nothing about whatever it is that you're curious about, but you want to know. You want to know something about it. You want to know the answer. You want to know the why, or the what, or the who, or the how behind whatever that curiosity was that piqued. You're not going in. You're not going in. You're not taking your ego in to help you understand this. Nothing about logic. When you start seeking um, answer, seeking information, or seeking knowledge, or that inquisition, that inquest, you start digging in. It's not something that mind can help you with, because usually a curiosity is something that's probably never, you've never heard of it. It's like, oh, it's possible, because obviously it's possible. I can think about it, but how is it possible? What makes it possible? What makes it available? What makes it available for me? What makes it how can I have access to it? What is it? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What is it? None of our senses, nothing in this outside world can help you in that inquest, or that inquisition that you're on, and satisfying that curiosity. And that's one of the things that you can understand, or the difference between a curiosity, or just something that you're just nosy about, or that you're just trying to dig in to find out. But if it's curiosity, it's something that's almost to the point of being foolish to the world, because the world, it's that the answers are not going to be out here. The answers are going to be it's going to be an internal inquisition, an internal search, and an internal investigation, an internal exploration. And your mind and your ego and all your five senses, you have to leave them at the door. You have to leave them at the door and just leave them there and just kind of you go in with a just like a blank. They call it a beginner's mind where you have no judgment about it. I don't know have any expectations. I'm just looking for the answer. I'm just looking for the information. I want the answer to this question, this burning desire of information that I'm trying to seek and I'm trying to understand. So I take that internally. I don't start being logical about it, and I don't start trying to impose something that was like this or it was similar to that. No, it's nothing about comparisons when we're talking about seeking and understanding information uh, that that has to do with our curiosity. All right, curiosity is creativity. Curiosity is the spark. It's the blood of creativity, and creativity means that it never existed. It never ever existed. Creativity, you're curious. Your curiosity, most times, I'm going to say probably 99.9% of the time, or none doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense. They're silly. They're foolish. Like, and you think about it. Today, we're living in a day and time when maybe 40, 50, 60 years ago, some of the things that we're experiencing and we're living and we're having and we're doing were silly, a foolishness. They were cartoons. They were the Jetsons, There was that the cars that hovered and flew around in the sky, taking you from place to place, or that you jumped in and it was nobody driving in, and it got where it was wanted to go. All of those things were foolish. They were foolish, silly, I don't know, comics or cartoons. And I remember as a little girl watching those shows, and I remember my mom and my grandma said, "Oh, those things are so silly. You guys are just watching that foolish cartoon stuff." Well, you know what? I was in Phoenix about 4 or 5 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was on my way to the airport driving. But I was in an Uber with the Lyft driver, Uber driver, taking me to the airport, and we stopped at a light, and I looked over, and there was this car and there was no driver in the car. And I was kind of stunned and I kept looking and, looking. And I said, "Hey, what's up with the car next over here? What is it?" He says, "Oh, that's one of, I don't know, he calls it a Hoover something, some kind of car. But it was a non-manned automobile driving the streets of Phoenix." And he said its job was to collect information and data so that their unmanned transit system would be following the same route that they were making, and they were going to use this information that this unmanned vehicle was putting together and you know downloading in their computers, and they were going to use it for the system, the transit system. Now, granted, I thought, oh, okay, that's really cool, but who would have, that was foolishness, as my grandmother would say, and my mom would say, foolish cartoons you're watching. Well, foolish cartoons was driving the streets of Phoenix, okay? And as far as I know, I think I asked him, I said, has it reported any accidents? Oh, no, 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 no accidents have been reported. They've been doing it for about 4 or 5 weeks, and no, they haven't reported any accidents. I said, wow, that's pretty cool, huh? So, so silly stuff. There's no such thing as a silly inquisition or a silly question or being curious about something that's silly or foolish. In fact, if it's not silly or foolish, then it may not be, it just may be something that, you can probably go to the encyclopedia and sit down and spend some time and get to know. But if it's something that never existed, something that you just, you woke up in the middle of in the middle of the night with all these beautiful visions in your mind and in your head, and you didn't even know what to call them and didn't know what to say to them, and then you're like, "Well, I can't talk to anybody about this. They're gonna think I'm crazy." Well, you know what? Talk to me, call me, and tell me because I won't think it's crazy because I was on the streets of Phoenix, Arizona, a few weeks ago, and I personally witnessed a car that actually took off before we did. It read the light before the driver of my Uber did, and it was on its way ahead of us. And I had the opportunity to watch it as it went along its little route. Uh, Very interesting. So do not fly or stray away or turn away or hide yourself or be embarrassed about asking questions that you think might be foolish. They might be silly, but that's okay. Silly makes silly makes new creations. Silly makes new opportunities. Silly makes could make you a millionaire, you know? Silly could do all kind of wonders for your life and for this world. So use your curiosity, pique it, allow it to expose itself to you, share it. And if with no one else, if you don't have anybody else to share with, call me. You can tell me about it, and I'll be like, "Wow, let me see if I can visualize that and get it wrap my mind, wrap my imagination about it." Because that's what it takes. It only takes your accepting it, embracing it, bringing it, and owning it for it to one day be a full-blown manifestation. That's what creation, that's how God created this, our beautiful universe, our beautiful, this world. How this is why how we are, because God saw, God spoke, and then it was. So we see it. We may not see it in the reality third dimension that we hope to bring it into at that time. But our imagination, remember that it was also Einstein who said that our logic and our thinking can take us only so far. And it only, and as I'm going to tell you, as far as your mind will ever take you, it's where we've already been. All right. Your plain old everyday plain old mind, taking the world as it sees it, and then as it reacts from it, it can only your logic can only take you to what we already know and what we've already experienced, what's already been recorded. All right. For you to go any further, it's going to take that imagination. And what partners with your imagination is the curiosity. The curiosity gives that imagination a kind of a jolt or a kick or an ignition. And it starts it on its merry little way to create in all types of visions and visuals that you may have to go internally to try to figure out how to verbalize it, how to put it into words, and so you can make a cartoon out of it, or design it, the car, and all of the internals that will go into making that car, travel over the city of Atlanta or wherever you happen to live. So don't don't forsake your curiosity. All right. You have it. It was yours at birth. And at birth, it was a spanking clean little slate. Nothing was on it and who sparked it for you was that doctor when it smacked you on your butt, and and all of a sudden you were curious, like, oh wow, what was that? What was that? What was that feeling? And like, ouch. And now, and it's making me react some kind of or act some kind of way. What was it? So, so that little smack that sparked that curiosity, that opened up that curiosity, the first thing on that empty slate, that empty mind, and I call it just a nice little eraser board, was, what was that? Why did he hit me? Why did I feel that? What was that feeling? And then and it went from there, you know? What are all these lights about? What are all these images? Or what is this? What is it? What? And slowly that baby, you, me, we started putting definitions and answering those questions that we initially had when that doctor smacked us on our butt, to spark our imagination, to spark our curiosity, to wake us up and make us become aware that this is a new world. This is a new opportunity to explore a new space. And it was nothing until I became aware of it. And I get to fill it up with my curiosity, with my imagination, with my emotions, with my feelings. So curiosity, you got it. You had it at birth. You had it when you came here. Now, what happened, just like anything, just like our beliefs, just like our feelings, just like our emotions, just like our thoughts. When we came here, nobody taught us how to think, but we started thinking. Nobody taught us how to be curious, but we started questioning, what was that? What did you hit me for? What was that feeling? What is all this brightness? Why can't I open my eyes? Or why does it hurt my, you know, Why? Don't even know all stuff, but the curiosity was there. And until that baby started hearing and seeing other things, so they could use the mind and use the imagination and use what was happening in and about and imitating what it saw, then it started being able to, I call it, get inaugurated into life. And it's sometimes, instead of us realizing that nobody taught us how to really think, nobody taught us really how to process our feelings, nobody taught us how to imagine. I personally think that public education, those are three subjects that they really should put on the agenda for school. They should have a class in imagination and creativity. They should have a class in critical thinking, how we think critically, how we ask questions, and how we go start seeking answers, and we answer those questions to ourselves. And it also should teach us how to verbalize and how to speak and communicate what we visual with those symbols and things that we see, so we can start putting words and words to them. So we need to teach it. We need to understand and learn how to feel. We need lessons in that. We need lessons and again in curiosity, and lessons in our imagination. We weren't taught that. We just start doing it. And we do it the best that we know how. And like I said, the world kind of comes in and conditions us to, to bring us integrate us into the system, into the system, so that we won't be, you know, everybody has to be mainstream according to the world that we live in. I disagree with that, but that's, you know, I just, wait, my parents disagreed too, but we lost that battle, and we all, off the public school we went, so no more homeschool. But that's okay. That's okay. We know that now that we're an adults, and now that we are responsible, and we can make our own, call our own, we can, we're the boss of this, okay? So we can decide that we're going to learn how to be proactive in our imagination. We're going to learn how to be proactive in our curiosity, and we're going to learn how to be proactive in our emotions. Those are three areas that we fall very short on. And you know what? Honestly, those are the three main superpowers. Those are the main super creativity powers that you have, is your imagination, your critical thinking, and your curiosity. And we fall very short. Humanity, to me, in my opinion, falls very short in helping us in those three with those three superpowers and those creative abilities and powers. All right. So my thing is, I want to take you back to childhood. I want to take you back and help you remember some kind of way, and not necessarily, logically, because it's not going to make sense logically a lot of times. You're just going to have to just have it from the inside. It's going to have to be something from the inside that comes. It's going to have to be a communication with you and your higher power, your higher self, your source, your maker, your creator, for you to really become, to know who, what, and whose you are. Because the world is not, it doesn't have that on the agenda to truly help you with that. That's something that's kind of you're on your own. And as parents, we want to equip our kids so that when the time comes for them to recondition, then that's what they're doing. We're conditioned so that we can fit in. But there's come a time when in our lives when we realize that I'm the boss of this. I'm the captain of this ship. So I'm gonna learn what to do with my emotions, how to manage them. I'm going to learn how to manage my curiosity. I'm going to learn how to manage my thinking and my imagination. And I'm going to learn how to use them because I want what I want. I want to design, and I want to manifest, and I want to create my life the way I want it, not the way they want it, not the way the world says that we have to do it. Because I know that there was a way that I inherited it. It was mine when I came here. They kind of did, they kind of got distorted a little bit in the process. But now that I'm a big girl, I'm a big boy, I'm going to learn how to do it myself. All right. So let me encourage you in that. Let me encourage you to recognize that those inherited powers and those inherited abilities that you came here with, that even though you want to fit in, and the world wants you to fit in, and you don't want to stick out like thumbs or whatever, we were conditioned to look at them and to use them in a different way, like run away from feelings. We're taught grow up, stop being a crybaby, stop, Well, no, learn how to manage your feelings because they were God given for a purpose and a reason. All right. They were God given. Your imagination is not a child play. It's not a child thing. It's not something that, that you should lose. That little child in you, that creative child in you, it still exists in you. Let me tell you, it's still there in you. All right. And it still is waiting for the okay to go back to what it always knew. And it always knew that it was forever connected to its source. It was nothing could take it away from that. But the world has scared it into a little corner and it's afraid to feel. It's afraid to express. It's afraid to imagine because then it looks silly. It looks like it doesn't belong. It stands out like a sore thumb. I'm told, grow up. I'm told, be a big girl, be a big boy. Boys don't cry. Boys, girls, the drill. We all went through it. We all went through it, but that's okay. We are aware, awakened, and conscious. And because we are aware, awakened, and conscious, we know that there is no limit to our awareness. There's no limit to our consciousness. The world, nobody can tell us that you only go this far and that's as far as you can go. Because no, we know better than that. We know that that's not even the beginning. That's not even my backyard. Where you're trying to put me is not even my backyard. My world is a whole lot bigger than that. Use your curiosity. Understand that it is your God-given inherited power, inherited creative power. It's one of those powers, again, that's the life source of your creativity. If you're not curious, it's gonna be you're gonna be handicapped. And I'm saying not you're gonna be handicapped. You're gonna be handicapped in your creativity, in your manifestation ability. I personally want to be a master manifester. I want to manifest and create my best. I want to manifest my best. I want to manifest off the chain. I want to manifest like Neville Goddard. I want to manifest like Jesus Christ. I want to manifest like that. I want the world to know that I am a product of my father. My father says I can. My father does. I can too. My father says I have. I have what my father has. He's provided for my father, my creator has provided all of this for me. All I got to do is recognize and remember and be who I am, who I was, and who I am, and who I always will be. All right, I'm gonna leave it there tonight. I'm gonna kind of hold off. I was kind of some other little things, but I kind of got it a little bit off because I wanted to feel like I was preaching about, just get with this, get on this creativity, get on this curiosity bandwagon. Yeah, and I want to. I'm like Einstein. I'm passionate about you and me and all of us understanding that we have no limits. We have, we're only limited by what we believe. And if we can imagine it, if we can see it in a dream, even if we don't even know what to call it, if you can see it in a dream, you can make it into a reality if that's what you want. But again, start somewhere. Start with your curiosity. When that curiosity sparks, when it comes alive, it kicks you alive and kicks you into emotions and kicks you into imagination and kicks you into, you know, daydreaming and seeing, just understand that you may not be able to put the words with it that point in time, and it might sound silly for you to sit down and try to explain it or draw a picture of it, and it's not going to make whatever. But do whatever it takes you to do to express that thing, that dream, that idea, that spark, that knowings. Just follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road wherever. Till it take you to the satisfaction of your curiosity. Next week I'm gonna kind of be a little bit more directed because next week what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about what the difference between constructive curiosity and a destructive curiosity. And curiosity is just like anything else, just like our thoughts and just like our imagination, just like our feelings. We can have feelings that are constructive, and we can have feelings that are negative or not so constructive. And the same would be with our curiosity. We can have curiosity. Curiosity can be very constructive if used to build up, to create, to make something better, to make our lives better, to learn something that we didn't know yesterday, to make us feel and understand and see who we really are. Knowing and using that creativity that way, because creative is what it was made for. Everything that we came here with was for a reason and for a purpose. And like Einstein says, creativity and curiosity has its own reason for existence. Everything about us, everything that we came here with has its reason and its purpose for existing. Our beliefs, our knowing, our imagination, all of those things have a purpose. And the purpose and how we use them, we could use them constructively, or we can use them not so constructively. And I'm going to avoid destructively, but we can use them destructively too. But they were meant for good. Everything about us was meant for our prosperity, for our growth and evolution, not to tear us down or to make or to diminish us or make us a ancient or what is it, extinct. No, it was to make us proliferate us, to make us more and greater and better. You're everything about you it has a purpose. All right. Curiosity, emotions, and imagination. Hey, you get those under your belt, there is no stopping you and manifesting and creating anything that you want. And I do mean anything that you want. That car that I saw driving on the road was proof enough for me. All right. Anyway, that's all I have tonight. And I really appreciate you guys joining me. And I hope that you subscribe, tell your friends about me, about the channel, and ask them to subscribe. Share the link. Share the link tonight. Especially if there's anything that you heard tonight that you think might be something that maybe someone would hear. Maybe you want to pass it on to your teachers, your kids' school teachers, so that maybe they'll have a day of let's imagine, or a day of let's be curious, and they'll help a child really understand that being that those gifts were they're for a reason, and let's get out and use them. Let's dust them off and use them. All right. Thanks, guys, for joining me, and I will see you next week. And until then, always remember that God loves you. So do I. Manifest best, and I'll see you next week. Good night.